Okay, I have finally removed the scraper bar from this machine. In order to do so, I had to pull the auger assembly back out. I've covered this in my auger bearing replacement video. Comes out no problem now with the two holes I drilled in the pulley. So all I had to do is reattach my puller, and the pulley came right out. I could just use a wrench. I didn't even have to use the impact. But the scraper bar was another story. All the bolts, they were quite rusted in there, and I tried loosening them off in order to take them off, and that was a mistake. With ones this old, since the scraper bar is the original scraper bar from when the machine was made, it just gets really rusty in there, and then the holes even get larger over time, and the bolts get smaller, and the little nut hex here that's supposed to fit in there, it just spins. So what you want to do is you want to take your impact gun, hopefully you got a strong one, these aren't too bad, and then you just tighten it with your 1/2 inch impact socket until they break off, like this one. Otherwise you'll be fighting it all day. I had to cut one of them off, or grind the head right off with the grinder. So since I had it that far apart, I decided I would take my wire wheel and wire wheel some rust off of the machine and give it a little coat of paint here. This isn't a restoration, we're just trying to keep it from rusting any more than it already has. So I'm just going to hit it with, got the primer on right now. I'm going to hit it with some red Rust-Oleum. It's actually a really good match. Used it before on this machine, so just clean it up a little bit, put it back together that way. But my auger bearing's in good shape still. It's not very old, only 1 year, so that'll be fine. So from here, I did drain my oil, and I found that the oil was fine. Well, the oil looked a little milky, but the gears are fine, so I am going to just fill her back up as far as that goes. But the next job is to take off these shear pin bolts. Now on a Toro like this, these are actually just special bolts that break off with the right amount of shear. I suspect these are kind of loose, so I am going to take these out, and then we'll see if the hole is walled out or anything like that. But I got new ones on the way, they just aren't in yet, so it's a little easier to take it apart this way with them on the end, because otherwise you got to use extensions on both ends to get at the bolt and the nut. But putting it together shouldn't be too bad that way, it's just taking it apart. So I'm going to try to get those apart, and then we'll see where we're at with that while I'm waiting for my paint to dry. And then I still have the other end to work on, so I've got plenty to go. Might not get it all done today. We'll see. Okay, I have gotten the auger slide pins, or shear pins, apart on this machine now. This is the better one. As you can see, it's about halfway worn through, so it is definitely needing to be replaced. And then the other one, which I suspect was original, actually broke when I took it apart. So I know my dad said that he replaced one of those, and I'm totally certain that this one was the one that he actually put in. This other one is an original part, as far as I can tell. So the machine here on the shaft, it seemed like the shaft might be a little bit walled out. The auger itself is fine, but the shaft might need some work. So we're alright. This one's lined up. They could be a little bit tighter, but it'll do. I'm not gonna replace the shaft. They're a little bit expensive, so I spend $60–70 on a shaft, so I don't think it's that bad. So we're just gonna leave it. So right now, as I've just completed taking the engine back off, which it's actually quite easy. You just, once you have it this far apart, you just have to pull the 2 bolts on each side like that. So I have assembled my oil adapter setup here, and so this is the M10 by 1.25 adapter from eBay with the ring on it that seals on the block. This is your male on one side, female on the other 90. This is your 4-inch piece of copper or of brass tubing. This is your female union. This is your 2-inch piece of brass pipe, your female to female union, and then finally a square hex plug. So when this is all together, I can get the shield on here. This is all together. You'll be able to just come over here when you want to drain the oil and pull the plug out, and then the plug will just allow the oil to drain, and you won't get it all over the machine. You'll get to clean it up real easy. Makes it much easier. I may put some sort of clamp to hold the brass part down to the deck of the machine, but otherwise we're just going to leave it. So we'll see how bad it vibrates when I get the machine running later in the year. So the last part that we have to worry about is the paint job on the housing for the auger, and it is looking a lot better, but I have to let it dry for a while before I can put the scraper bar back on, or the new one on. So you know, this will help quite a bit as far as its resistance to rust, and also how it looks. Everybody seems to describe that machine as being ugly. So with that, I think this is it until I get the scraper bar put back on.